I was going down from the mountain, just in awe at what just happened to me. And the voice comes. He says, my son, go get our bike.
That's right. This guy is crying as he recounts Jesus telling him to go buy a new BMW motorcycle.
So come forth, step into your destiny now, saith the Lord.
Love the stick, right? That is a badass fucking stick.
I want to say this. If you're one of those and you're saying that the prophets are wrong and that you're right, would you do me a favor? Would you go on video and go on record, put your hand on your Bible?
I'm on video and record. Okay, I'm down. Let's do this shit. I didn't own a Bible. I had to buy one specially for this occasion.
Our president is legitimate, and his name is Donald Trump. I'm just going to say it.
Oh my God. Please. This is the cringiest shit ever. Chem Panda, is Kat Kerr wearing the Star Trek badge because she's a total space cadet? Oh my God, she is wearing some kind of a badge that looks like the Star Trek badge. Holy shit, dude, I didn't even notice. Her outfit is camouflage and says Commander Cat on it. No fucking joke.
I pray for this man. Lord, I pray you take the smell of smoke, the disappointment, the bitterness, the anger, the feeling of betrayal and loss. It must be a terrible thing, Lord, to actually feel as though you've been stolen an election.
This guy is literally praying over a cardboard cutout of Donald Trump in January 2022, a year after the dude left office.
And I'm praying now also. I'm seeing something great happen with the fellow whose show is right before mine on Saturday, Steve Bannon. I see God doing a work in him. I want you guys to pray.
Nobody was beat on like that, like our president, for 4 years. Nobody.
Nobody? Not one person? I mean, have you read about 1940s Germany? Do you know anything about that?
And God only endorses what he legally sets up that we put our agreement to.
Okay, so this whole time I've been thinking that God could just snap his fingers and make Trump president just like that, but now I understand that God needed to come down to earth to campaign for Donald Trump if he wanted him to win. That's my mistake.
BLM is demons! And you tell them I said so.
Okay, I will. I don't think anybody in Black Lives Matter gives a shit if you think they're demons.
But I'm asking you, Lord. I'm asking. I just found a flag here. I didn't know.
Are you fucking kidding me? You're looking around at your stuff while you're saying a prayer. What is wrong with you? Get back to God. He's waiting. He had a golden fucking statue built of himself. A golden statue. How much more on the nose can it get? That is some weird shit. But saying something that's racist means you will most likely face social consequences for that. That's just what it is. I'm sorry, this is not funny. This is sad. This is really sad. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. Just an FYI, my landlord is replacing my air conditioner at this moment. Like, they're in the bedroom replacing it, so I may have to step away for just a second to talk to them or whatever. I also, yeah, you may also hear, like, noises in the background while they're working on that. But anyway, yeah, just ignore it. So we got an interesting show tonight. I'm going to be talking about... Give me a second here. See if I can pull this up. We're going to be talking about Jehovah's Witnesses. Let me just a second pull this up. Here we go. Okay. Let me switch screens so you guys can see what I'm looking at too. All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about this article on the Friendly Atheist website. Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses may get access to elders' files on them. And then when we're done with that, we're going to be watching a video by Jehovah's Witnesses of them talking about babies being enemies of God. It gets pretty weird, so. Let's see. All right, I'll tell you what. Why don't we get into the news article and see what it has to say. This is on the... Hang on, let me just mute notifications. Okay. Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses may get access to elders' files on them. This is on the Friendly Atheist website. If your religious leaders kept secret files on you, should you be allowed to have access to them once you leave the faith? That question is at the center of a controversial ruling last week involving the Jehovah's Witnesses in British Columbia, Canada, of course, and the story is far from over. This is a pretty big deal because when I was a Jehovah's Witness, they kept records on everything. Every time I gave a talk up there, like, did the sermons or whatever, anytime I got in any kind of trouble, anytime I had a run-in with my dad and the elders had to get involved, or anytime my mom left my dad for, doing what he did, anything, they wrote it down in like my publisher's file, put it in their filing cabinet, and I don't know for sure what they did from there. Send it to the branch office? I don't know. But apparently, I would love to get my hands on it. I would love to know what they said about me. That would be incredible. Anyway, I can't imagine they said anything flattering in my disfellowshipping meeting, but it'd be fascinating to read. All right, let's keep reading. The case involves two former members, Gabriel Liberty Wall and Gregory Westgard Wall, had been a member of the Grand Forks congregation since 2014, having been baptized into the faith in 2012. He formally left the Witnesses in 2017. John Vabulas was one of the elders. Westgard was a member of the Coldstream congregation until 2009 when he left. That's roughly when I left too, although I still believed it until like 2012 maybe. Where was I? Paul Sidhu was one of his elders. The names aren't particularly relevant as much as their situation. A couple years ago, both men requested access to anything the Witnesses had on file about them, and they cited the province's Personal Information Protection Act, or PIPA, which gives individuals access to that kind of data. I'm assuming that's kind of like, what is it in Europe, the GDPR? That bill that basically prevents them from, if somebody requests personal data that like Google is stored on them or something, then they're required to hand that data over to them or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm assuming that PIPA is kind of like that. It's pretty interesting. The Witnesses, in response, filed a civil lawsuit against the government saying they ought to be exempt from the law and that the law was written, and that the law as written was unconstitutional. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. They have an army of lawyers that go around getting into all kinds of shenaniganery. So I'm really not surprised that they challenged the law like that. I'd be surprised if they didn't. In short, they argued that any data they had on members, past or present, was used only to the extent necessary to provide spiritual support, as well as to protect the moral and spiritual cleanness of congregations. That included the opinions of the elders about their members and documentation of possible sins committed by the members in question. Like I said, I can't even imagine what's in my file. It's got to be super interesting. Oh my God, I'm just dying to know what they said. Sadly, since this took place in Canada, it's probably not going to apply to me anyways. It's probably going to apply to Canadians and Canadians only, but what can you do? Maybe one day I'll get a peek inside. Where was I? The Witnesses, however, argued that such data must remain in their possession and away from prying eyes in case former members ever wanted to rejoin the religion. This was a religious secret, no different from whatever a Catholic priest might hear in a confessional booth, and the government had no right to force them to give up their notes. I don't know. I think it's a little bit different from a confessional booth. But either way, honestly, if you don't want this information to be, all right, here's my opinion on it. And this applies to Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and everybody else. Any data that's written down about somebody should be accessible to them, period. I don't care what rules you have. If you have data on somebody, they should have access to it. Now, as far as confessionals go, if you don't want that data to be turned over to that person, then don't write it down. You know, priests can sit in a confessional box and listen all day. But if they're going to use this against somebody in the future, potentially, which is why they write it down in the first place, so it can be used against them at some point, they should have access to it. Bottom line. Anyway, let's keep reading. That's not exactly a fair analogy, though, because it's not like JW elders keep those secrets to themselves. As one of the ex-JWs later explained, confidential information is shared between multiple elders, circuit overseers, and the branch office, where any number of individuals could have access to this personal information. For example, if you moved into a different city, elders in your old kingdom hall could share your private information with your new elders. But if the data was just floating around like that, how come the people whom the information came from can't see it? Exactly. Absolutely agree. 100%. If it can be used against you in the future, or if it's shared between multiple people, you should be one of those people, in my opinion. Last September, a British Columbia, of course Canada, a BC Canada Supreme Court judge said the lawsuit would be on hold until the Privacy Commissioner could weigh in on the matter. And last week, the Commissioner finally weighed in. Hang on. Sorry, I just wanted to start recording because I'm going to use the recording later on in something else. Anyway. Okay, the commissioner finally weighed in. Director of Adjudication Elizabeth Barker wrote in a lengthy ruling that the Jehovah's Witnesses hadn't shown the law was unconstitutional, and they'll have to give her the data on the two men so she can decide if there's anything too sensitive for their eyes. Wow! That is fascinating. There's nothing in those publisher files that's too sensitive for the men. They don't write anything like organization specific in your publisher records. It's just data about you. That's it. Oh my God, I would kill to be one of, like, this, who was it? Director of Adjudication. I would kill to be Director of Adjudication. I would just love to know what they wrote. Oh my God. Okay, here's the quote from the Director of Adjudication. Once I have the opportunity to review the records, I'll be able to decide what personal information in them, if any, the applicants are entitled to access under the PIPA, or under PIPA. That decision will include considering application of the provisions of S23, including those that apply to protect the personal information of third parties such as the elders. What about the argument that data collected by religious groups ought to be exempt from PIPA? Barker wasn't buying it. Oh, I love it, dude. Canada is going in beautiful directions right now. Here's another quote from the director. The purpose of infringing measures is to provide individuals a meaningful way to protect their personal information under an organization's control. What the respondents, the Jehovah's Witnesses, suggest would completely undermine and defeat that purpose. Barker, this is Hemant Mehta speaking again. Barker, which is the adjudicator, demanded all information be given to her by August 3rd, after which she'll be able to make a final decision. The BC Humanist Association is calling this ruling a victory for secularism and the rights of apostates and those who leave religious communities. Executive Director Ian Bushfield said he said this in a statement. This is a quote. This is a statement that they made. This is a big win for the rights of individual congregants and the ex-religious. The congregation's arguments, if adopted, would have meant that any religious group would have an extraordinary exemption from their obligations under privacy laws. It would give religious leadership incredible powers to coerce current and former members. God, this is mind-blowing. The bottom line here is that religious organizations in British Columbia, Canada, don't have some special right to keep tabs on you, but never letting you have access to it. Their private thoughts about members shouldn't be exempt from privacy laws that give people control of their own information, especially when those thoughts may be shared with plenty of other people. If the information's eventually given to the former members, it could also reveal what sorts of discussions JW leaders have had about members when they believe they're deliberating in secret. As one former witness told me, this information could tell people if their character was maligned. where they slandered or misrepresented among their small insular community in some way? To put it another way, did the elders talk shit about you with other Jehovah's Witnesses based on something private you told them? Knowing that answer could lead former members to demand that any such information be destroyed once they leave the organization. Just having it destroyed would be beautiful, but I'm not holding my breath on that one, because if you ever want to rejoin, then they want to keep that information on tap. Like, they want to make sure that they know why you left in the first place, if it was a disfellowshipping or disassociation or whatever else. So I'm not holding my breath, hoping that they're going to destroy it even. But it sounds like they may very well have to turn it over by law. That is incredible. This is all assuming the elders haven't destroyed any truly damning information already. It's not unusual, what one witness told me, when data magically disappears. Like I said, this case is far from over. Whatever gets decided here won't necessarily apply everywhere else, but a small victory would still be a victory. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love it. I love everything about it. I am so excited to see where this goes. Oh my God. By the by, 9:45 p.m. I'm going to be doing a patron-only hangout. It's going to be just a live stream after this one, basically. If you guys want to come to it, just go to my Patreon, which is hang on. Let me get the link. Just a second. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to post the link in the chat. It's patreon.com/telltaleatheist. It's also in the description of this video. If you sign up as a patron, you'll get the link. It's in the most recent post. Come to it. It's just going to be a few people, probably 15 to 20 people. We're just going to hang out and chat for a while. So I'll just be reading the chat and talking to people and stuff. In fact, who knows? Maybe I'll even watch some extra videos and stuff and talk about other goings on and shenaniganery and whatnots. Anyway, okay, I'll tell you what. Why don't we, since we finished this article, absolutely nutty stuff, dude. Since we're talking about Jehovah's Witnesses in the first place, why don't we watch this Jehovah's Witness video? I recently released a video about this clip with Stephen Lett, this guy right here on screen. Released a video about this guy the other day, saying that babies are enemies of God. So I wanted to watch the entire section where he says that in the first place. I figured it'd be entertaining as hell, and just see what he has to say about babies. Give me a second here. I'm just gonna fix my recording stuff. Okay. I think I'm good now. Awesome. Anyway. All right. Well, let me switch screens so you guys can see what's happening. Awesome. I'll tell you what. Why don't we play a game while listening to Stephen Lett talk about this? If you're unfamiliar with this whole thing, Jehovah's Witnesses have a convention. Basically, they have 3 conventions per year, right? They have the Special Day Assembly, it's 1 day. The Circuit Assembly, that's 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And then they have the District Assembly, which is 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And they do that, each of those, once per year. This was at the District Assembly, and this is basically everybody in the tri-state area gets together in a big convention center, and they all hang out and, you know, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all. So that's where he said all this stuff. I figured we'd give this a watch and see what he had to say. This is Kenneth Cook Jr. This leads into the babies are enemies of God thing. So let's just start at the very beginning of the Kenneth Cook thing. And before we do that, let's take a look at Super Chats. Ambrosia Moon, when you're live, it makes me so damn happy. Appreciate that. I'm glad you like my stuff. Glad you're here. Everin Daniel Poe, today is 1 year anniversary of my friend's death and 2 of her kids in a house fire. I'm going to have a few shots to toast her memory. She helped me with paperwork to get back into college after 7 years. That sounds like a plan. That's rough. I'm sorry to hear that. But toasting to her memory is a good way to honor her, right? Let's see. Sorry. The one time I ever ran in with JWs, they stopped me while I was walking around my neighborhood. Still one of the most awkward things in my life. Yeah, it does get awkward. They definitely have a different personality. I know when I was a witness, they had they had programmed in a new personality, and that's even what they call it, the new personality. That's the term that Jehovah's Witnesses have for this, or the Christian personality, quote unquote. Insert creative username here. I was recently outed as non-binary by one of my family members. It's been a rough week for me lately. Thank you for everything you do. I appreciate that. Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. Things are getting a little bit rough at the moment, but we will make it through. Just do your best and don't worry about the rest, right? Patriot of the West. Odin bless you, Owen. Can't tune in today watching Staff Sergeant Terrence Popp do an after-action review on his stream. Be safe, happy, and late Independence Day. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for coming. No problem, though. Don't sweat it. Yours truly, the number one pony. You think, just like Scientology, the governing body, think they own you under Jehovah. Yep, they sure do, and they act like it, too. They will lie and cheat and manipulate and do whatever it takes to get what they want. An ends justify the means mentality. It's disturbing stuff, that is for sure. What do you mean when you say you have to reset your cameras? Love the show. Great work. Yeah. Basically, I have 2 DSLR cameras, and what that means is they're basically, the 2 cameras are designed for photography, for picture taking. And since they're designed for picture taking rather than recording, they have a 30-minute recording limit on each. So every 30 minutes, I have to turn the recording off, turn the recording back on, and it'll create a new 30-minute file. That's basically why I do that. So, anyway. Where was I? I mean, I could get a camcorder. I've thought about that, but camcorders are obscenely expensive, and I'm worried. I don't know if I'll get the right kind or whatever else. They can be like thousands of dollars. The current cameras that I have, I think one of them is a T6i. It's worth somewhere around $600 to $700. I got it years and years ago. And the other is a 90D, Canon 90D. And I think that one was $1,400 when I bought it, again, years ago. I think it's probably worth $1,000 now. Not really sure. But anyway, they're decent. I mean, I don't mind them. They get the job done, I figure. Anyway, let's see, where was I? Mr. Monster, seems like mass shootings are now America's pastime. Nothing short of removing AR-15 style rifles is going to stop the carnage, not even gun laws. Yeah, I agree, honestly. And I don't think even that's going to do the trick, removing AR-15 style rifles. I mean, we got an uphill road to fix the problems in this country because the minority has found their way to power and refused to fix anything intentionally. So, yeah, we're in bad shape. That's for sure. Ben Davis, thanks for tackling this stuff. Glad you're around. Thank you so much. Glad you're here. Okay, sweet. Think we are good to continue. With all that being said, let's watch this Kenneth Cook thing. Like I said, this leads into more Stephen Lett, and that's where Stephen Lett talks about babies being enemies of God. So, okay. Let's give this Kenneth Cook thing a listen. I believe, is he a governing body member? I don't remember. He's either a governing body member or a governing body helper. Hang on. Governing body, Jehovah's Witnesses. I believe there are 8 of them total. I used to be able to name them all right off the top of my head. Let's see how many I can get without looking. Stephen Lett, Samuel Hurd. Oh, God. I remember their faces, some of them. Tony Morris, David Splain. So that's 4. And then we've got, I think Kenneth Cook is one of them. And then Sanderson. One of them is named Sanderson. That's 6. I think I'm missing 2. Let me look them up. Okay. Kenneth Cook. Yep. That's him. That's one of the governing body members. Sam Hurd. Jeffrey Jackson. I forgot him. Stephen Lett. Garrett Loesch. That's the other one I forgot also. I forgot Garrett Loesch and Jeffrey Jackson. And then we got Tony Morris, Mark Sanderson, and David Splain. So those are the governing body members. Anyway, let's watch Kenneth Cook talk about Jehovah's Witnesses and Jehovah's Witness related activities here.
I can say that we...
Oop, let me step back. It needed to fade in. Okay, here we go.
On behalf of the governing body, I can say that we really appreciate your attending this Pursue Peace convention. Speaking of peace,
Yeah, Pursue Peace is the name of, like, their convention. They always have, like, a convention theme or whatever. One year recently, it was, like, Remain Loyal to Jehovah. You know, like, super Orwellian, disturbing, weird shit sometimes. But, yeah, this one is Pursue Peace, whatever that means.
we love the serene setting here at our world headquarters on Blue Lake in New York State. At times, the water is as smooth as a mirror. We occasionally see eagles and hawks fly by.
Yeah, New York State is definitely a beautiful place, that's for sure.
And in the fall of the year, when the leaves change colors, the forest can look spectacular. More important than this tranquil setting, though, is the abundant peace that Jehovah has given to his organization. We can say this because of the peace and harmony that unite us, no matter what our nationality, language, race, tribe, or social background is. This is truly spectacular.
Yeah, except they're friendly with people of any nationality or tribe or whatever else, as long as you are not an ex-member of the group. If you're an ex-member of the group, all that love and joy and peacefulness goes right out the window. They want nothing to do with you, like me.
Especially when we consider all the turmoil in the world and how divided people are politically, socially, and religiously. However, we cannot take our beautiful peace for granted. It's not maintained automatically. Each of us personally must pursue peace in order to have God's approval. Jehovah certainly wants his worshipers to enjoy lasting peace. That was true in ancient times. God told Moses to have the priests in Israel bless the people with very reassuring words. Notice these words that we find at Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 26. And hear what the priests were to say to the people. May Jehovah bless you and safeguard you.
Actually, that's not what it says. It says, may Yahweh bless and safeguard you, at best. I mean, I haven't read it, but I know for a fact the Bible doesn't say Jehovah because J's didn't exist until, like, the 1400s or something. So, just putting that out there.
May Jehovah make his face shine upon you, and may he favor you. May Jehovah lift up his face toward you and grant you peace. The next verse states, and they must place my name upon the people of Israel, that I may bless them. Jehovah.
God, the cadence that they use is so deeply creepy. Is it just me? It is so weird how they talk like slow and drawn out. May Jehovah bless you. It's just weird, man.
Jehovah has placed his name on us too, and he is richly blessing us. Let's consider what this convention program is going to cover so that we'll know how we can continue to enjoy God's blessing of peace. First, we'll consider how to be at peace with God. Our greatest peace comes from having a personal relationship with Jehovah. Making him our best friend benefits us and leads to peace in every other aspect of our life. How can we reach out for a close relationship with God? We need more than a superficial knowledge of him. We need to get to know Jehovah as a person and admire his qualities and ways. Then we can love what he loves and hate what he hates.
Wow, that's an interesting statement, isn't it? I'm fascinated. Let's just step back and hear that one more time. What was that, Kenneth?
Relationship with God. We need more than a superficial knowledge of him. We need to get to know Jehovah as a person and admire his qualities and ways. Then we can love what he loves and hate what he hates. During this program, listen for details about Jehovah that will draw you ever closer to him. Second, we'll consider how to be at peace with others. Our homes should be havens for peace for our families. This means more than the absence of arguing. It involves putting the interests of our family members ahead of our own. As we'll learn from this program.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I do suck at Mario. I know I suck. I'm just here to entertain and have fun. I like Mario Maker because it's like short, quick, easy things. Like you can just kind of watch one level and then move on, you know? It's not like playing Breath of the Wild where like whatever is happening kind of depends on the context from the previous stream or whatever. That's why I play it while I watch. But anyway, let's keep listening to Jehovah's Witnesses.
Putting the interests of our family members ahead of our own. As we'll learn from this program, that includes showing love and respect to one another, working as a team, improving family communication, and worshiping Jehovah together.
Seriously, the cadence they use is so weird. And worshiping Jehovah together.
Third, we'll consider how to be at peace despite trials and troublesome world conditions. During this convention, we're going to tour the world to see how, despite opposition, illness, economic problems, and natural disasters, our brothers really care for one another.
I honestly think part of the reason for this, like, what do you call it? Like the title of the symposium or the idea behind this whole district convention. I think the idea behind it is specifically intended to prevent people from getting politically involved, pursue peace, don't pay attention to what's happening in the rest of the world, so on and so forth. I mean, they do come out and say that a little bit later in some of the other talks. Like, I've been listening to them on Twitch and on my Telltale Unfiltered YouTube channel. If you want to see more of it, just, check out those two places and you can see me talking about it. But anyway, yeah, I think that everything is so polarized right now in the world and in politics in general that they're desperately trying to prevent their people from like getting more politically involved. You're supposed to be completely 100% neutral, basically.
How they receive help from Jehovah's organization, and how they continue their spiritual activity. No matter what may threaten our lives or livelihood, we can be confident that Jehovah can help us get through it and retain our peace of mind and heart. Fourth, we'll consider how to enjoy peace eternally. Once God's kingdom has lifted mankind to perfection, we'll no longer have to pursue peace. As Psalm 72 verse 7 promises, the righteous will flourish, and peace will abound until the moon is no more. In other words, there will be peace forever. This program will help us to anticipate future blessings from Jehovah. Can you see why Pursue Peace was well chosen as the theme for this year's convention?
Not to toot my own horn, toot toot, baby. I mean, he's the one that chose the theme in the first place, and he's talking about how great the theme is. Well, I mean, I don't know if he was the one that actually chose it, but he's a governing body member, so he was at least, you know, the decision was passed through him at the very least.
To pursue something means to chase it in order to capture it. Because of the influence of Satan, his wicked world, and our own imperfections, peace is constantly trying to elude us. Therefore, we have to chase after it to capture it in our lives. This convention program will help us do that. May the God of peace be with all of you now and forever. That's the heartfelt wish of all of us on the governing body, because we love you dearly.
Okay, that is incredibly creepy. They really do talk like this regularly. I mean, this is a prime example of them talking like a cult. They're talking about loving their people dearly and all this stuff. It's just weird, man. Please don't do that.
Please enjoy the entire convention program.
So this was the intro, basically. This morning on Twitch, I covered the opening, which was a talk by Stephen Lett, this guy right here. And, yeah, you know, it was Stephen Lett, so there's that. After he gave his opening talk, it was like 15 minutes long or something. Then Kenneth Cook comes in and does this little primer. And now Stephen Lett's coming back in, and he's going to give us, like, more information or whatever on what's going to be in the symposium. That's kind of how this is laid out. So he's about to explain it to us, and we're going to get to see some trailers for what's to come. Again, it's basically 3 days worth of content, like 3 days worth of video dramas and talks and all that other good stuff. So I think I'm probably going to be watching all of it on my Twitch and then upload to my Telltale Unfiltered YouTube channel later. So if you want to see it, those are the two good places to go. But let's listen to Stephen Lett explain what's going to be in the symposium.
We warmly thank Brother Cook for highlighting some of the ways this convention program will help us to pursue peace. But now, let's briefly preview the convention program that is coming our way, that has been provided by the God of peace. And you may want to follow along by using your copy of the convention program. You'll note day one has the theme, Jehovah will bless his people with peace. The first symposium will illustrate how love for God, love for neighbor, and love for God's word lead to genuine peace. This year's dramatic Bible reading is based on the life of Jacob. And as you will see, Jacob gives us an excellent example as to how we can pursue the things making for peace.
You know, I talked about this earlier on Twitch too, but Stephen Lett, people ask if that's real, like the whole cadence that he does and how he enunciates his words and stuff like that. I don't know if it's actually real or not, but I can tell you this. There's another clip of him doing something similar, or there's another clip of him talking to an audience, right? And weirdly, the weird cadence that he has in his voice is nowhere to be found in this clip. So listen to what he has to say here and compare the weird enunciations he does in what we're listening to now. Compare that to what we're about to listen to. This is him just talking to a normal audience.
There's a lot of groups in today's world that would have our sisters believe to be in subjection to a man is belittling. It's demeaning. There's groups like Women's Lib. One brother called it Women's Lip, L-I-P.
Wow, Women's Lip. That's okay.
Instead of L-I-V, just change a letter there. See, there's groups like that say, don't let any man tell you what to do. Get out there and compete with men, including your husband. Don't let any man tell you. you're just as good or better than men. See, and that's the attitude they try to promote. But now if our sisters listen to that, what would happen? They'd lose their beautiful humility. They would lose that subjection to their husband.
So, point is, I'm not really convinced that, like, he told this story about how his parents were deaf when he was little, and so he had to, like, really enunciate his words and move his mouth in an exaggerated way so his parents, you know, so it was easier for them to lip read, basically. After hearing him talk shit about feminism, I'm not convinced that's real. I'm really not. I'm not convinced that he's even telling the truth on that. It really honestly did not sound exaggerated like it normally does in that. So I think he's just completely full of it, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, let's keep listening to him explain the upcoming symposium here.
Thereafter, we'll have the talk. The result of true righteousness will be peace. And we'll see in that talk how we can resist temptation. Just as a lion devours prey and assimilates it into his body, Satan tries to get us to succumb to temptations so he can devour us and assimilate us into his world. But during that talk, we'll learn how to reject his temptations. Then, in the second half of day one, we'll enjoy our second convention symposium, Take Delight in God's Promises of Peace. We will be greatly heartened by Jehovah's promises of peace found in the book of Isaiah. For example, one of the talks has the theme, The Wolf and the Lamb Will Feed Together. Today, we can't even imagine feeding a wolf and a lamb together. If we tried such, it would likely result in lamb chops for the wolf. But Jehovah's promise in Isaiah assures us that peace will exist between humans and animals, and between animals and other animals.
These people are so weird, dude. Oh my God, they're so strange, honestly.
The third convention symposium has the thought-provoking theme, Follow the Roadmap to Family Peace. We'll learn how, despite challenges, marriage mates, parents, and children can successfully follow that roadmap to family peace. Then we'll enjoy the talk, Loyally Support the Prince of Peace. That talk will remind us of the importance of maintaining our neutrality by not taking sides on political issues. To conclude day one, we'll have the intriguing talk, Do Not Be Misled by Imitation Peace. It will contrast the world's so-called peace with a genuine peace that Jesus will give his followers.
Interestingly enough, I don't know, like, I watched a bunch of stuff this morning and on Twitch. You guys will see it come out on the Telltale Unfiltered channel later, but I may have actually seen that. I'm not really sure if I saw that specific thing or not, contrasting the world's peace with Jehovah's Witnesses' peace or whatever. There really is no difference, except effectively they're saying you'll be happy, you won't be depressed, your life will be decent, or you'll be able to deal with bad experiences or bad events that take place in your life. You'll be able to deal with it easier if you're a Jehovah's Witness, if you follow their instructions and directions, if you follow their expectations, basically. And what are their expectations? To not speak to family members if they don't believe the same way you do anymore. Those are their expectations. So what they're really saying is, if you follow, or if you refuse to talk to your family members anymore, you'll be happier. That's basically what they're saying. You will be happy if you refuse to talk to your kids anymore if they stop believing the same way you do. I simply beg to differ, good sir. They even talk about the world's warping what true love is. They say the world doesn't understand true love. I have to say, I don't think that Jehovah's Witnesses are the ones that understand true love. I think the world outside of Jehovah's Witnesses have a good grip on what love is. I think Jehovah's Witnesses as an organization have an absolutely grotesque view of what love is. And I'm a living embodiment, or a living example of the fact that they don't know what real love is. They don't have any idea how to actually love somebody.
Then day 2, notice the theme? Be found spotless and unblemished and in peace. The second day starts with a symposium designed to invigorate us for our ministry so that we can be ready to share the good news of peace. That will be followed by the talk, Young People, Choose a Path that Leads to Peace.
Yeah, this guy, I don't know if you guys are, how familiar you are with Jehovah's Witnesses, but he is famous for saying, young ones, just in a really, really weird, bizarre, creepy way. And I was really hoping he's going to say it, but I guess he sided with young people instead. Maybe I should try to find the whole young ones clip. It's pretty funny. Give me a second, see if I can pull that up. Hang on. All right, just 1 second. Hang on. Hang on, let me see if this one is... Yeah. This is it, I think. All right, let me switch screens so you can see, too. Okay, I haven't watched this whole thing, so I'm wary. I usually try to screen stuff first, but give this a watch. See what he says here.
Young ones, you are loved by Jehovah and his organization. Young ones, you are loved by Jehovah.
This is one continuous clip. This isn't a cut. This is not combined. This is just one sentence he's saying right now.
And his organization. But now, when we say young ones, to whom are we referring?
Okay, yeah, it was a jokey video, but anyway, that's he says young ones in such a strange way, and he says it constantly. It's weird. Anyway, let's keep listening.
And that talk will encourage our dear young ones to pursue the full-time ministry. And we want to say to you, dear young ones, if you do this, you will enjoy a happy life, and you will have no regrets. Next, we will see a video that shows how our brothers around the world are continuing their spiritual activity and are enjoying peace despite difficult trials. Then, a highlight of the day will be the baptism of new disciples of Jesus.
Yeah, they usually, like at the district conventions, what they do is... Usually, when I was little, I don't know that they do it this way anymore, but they used to have, Friday would always be just like the day where everybody gathers and hangs out with each other or whatever. And then Saturday, they would do the baptisms at noon. So right before lunch, the lunch break. It's basically like an 8-hour day. Like you go in to this Jehovah's Witness convention, and you stay there for 8 hours. You get there at 9 a.m., and you stay there until 5 p.m. or something like that. You have a lunch at 1, and at noon, they'll do, depending on the day, either the baptisms, or they'll do the drama. Now, the drama used to be kind of like a play. Like you'd get a bunch of actors together from the Jehovah's Witnesses congregations. They would all get together and they'd make, costumes, and they would put like fake beards on each other because they were trying to imitate Bible characters who of course had beards, but Jehovah's Witnesses aren't allowed to have beards. So they would get like these fake costumes together, but the message had to be directly from the governing body. They didn't want anybody improvising. So they would just record what the governing body wanted the message to be for the drama. So the actors weren't doing any talking. They would just basically they would just get up there and like wave their arms around like they were, you know, trying to deliver a message. Anyway, Saturday's usually the baptisms right before lunch, and then Sunday was the drama. Now, I don't think they do the dramas anymore like that, like the plays. Oh, God, I didn't know there was a clear condition on this. Now I think instead of dramas, they're just doing, like, just propaganda videos, basically, which we're definitely going to be watching the propaganda videos for sure.
In the baptism talk, the baptism candidates will be encouraged to go on walking in the way of peace. And why? Because this is truly the best way of life. 2 more symposiums will use video dramatizations to contrast traits of peace wreckers with the qualities of peace makers.
Peace wreckers. I think we used to call those home wreckers back in the day. No, the video dramatization thing he mentioned, I think that's what he's talking about, the drama, or what used to be the drama.
And what a stark contrast between the two you'll see in these symposiums. It's kind of like the contrast between bitter and sweet. Part 1 of this year's Bible drama will remind us of ancient examples of God's people who pursued peace, and we'll definitely be able to relate to their examples and relate it to our current situation in life. The day will conclude with showing us how to safeguard our uniting bond of peace. We'll see how we can do so by putting the application of Bible principles always ahead of following local culture and traditions.
There you go. That section is the one where they call out, like, not getting involved in politics or whatever.
Now, day 3, the theme, may the God who gives hope fill you with all joy and peace.
Yeah, so it's a 3-day assembly, which means it's a district convention. It's the 3-day assembly. Like, every congregation within the tri-state area gets together. That's what he's describing right now. That's what's happening.
The opening symposium will examine 7 examples of ones who sowed peace and reaped peace. We will examine Joseph and his brothers, the Gibeonites, Gideon, Abigail, Mephibosheth, Paul and Barnabas, and modern examples. We truly hope that many accept our invitation to hear the enlightening public Bible discourse entitled Friendship with God, How Possible?
Okay. Grammatically correct. Let me rephrase. Grammatically correct much?
If we think about it, we're not born as friends of God because we're born as sinful offspring of Adam. Actually, if we think about it, we're born as enemies of God.
There you go. This is the clip. This is where this is from. Like the video I released the other day. Hilarious.
Sometimes you'll hear people say of a little baby, "Look at that little angel." But more accurate would be to say, "Look at that little enemy of God." Now, of course, we love that little baby, and it's not hopeless, because our loving Creator has made reconciliation with Him within the reach of everyone. We can become a good friend of God, and that close relationship with Jehovah will become our most valuable possession.
So this seems innocuous. It seems like nothing important, basically, but it really is very important. It's new light, effectively, and there's going to be a whole talk on it, which we'll definitely be watching a little bit later, probably on my Unfiltered channel or my Twitch, but the new light, the idea behind this is that these people are revealing prophecy or revealing a new way to operate for the Jehovah's Witness organization. And the consequence of this new light is no longer can you just not get baptized. If you aren't baptized as a Jehovah's Witness, you are an enemy of Jehovah's Witnesses and an enemy of God, if you will. And that's going to have steep ramifications for a lot of people, unexpectedly.
But then, After we enjoy part 2 of the Bible drama, the concluding talk of this convention will fill our hearts with a joyful prospect that universal peace is sure to come. It's guaranteed by the God who cannot lie. Finally,
Right, he can't lie? Does that mean that he's not all-powerful? He should be able to lie, right? He should be capable of doing so if he's all-powerful.
we'll join in singing a beautiful new original song, and we'll close with a prayer of praise to Jehovah, the source of peace. So, dear brothers and sisters, there's a brief synopsis of our wonderful 3-day convention provided by the God of Peace that is coming our way.
Yeah, he's totally playing up that whole accent or whatever you want to call it.
And throughout, the program will be enhanced with dozens of videos. And we'll see our brothers either in real-life settings or dramatizations that we'll definitely be able to relate to. In fact, the following video is a little small sampling of the videos you will see during this convention.
Oh, beautiful. I think I actually, I watched this on Twitch. You guys are going to have to wait for this to come out on my Unfiltered channel, which will be coming out soon to see the rest of it. But actually, we're almost at the end here. So let's see, 45. Yeah. I'll give you the synopsis of the dramatization. Basically, this girl is being made fun of in school just by some bullies, and they turn it into a persecution thing. Like, she's being persecuted for her faith, when it absolutely isn't. These kids are just being kind of mean. And this guy is harassing this kid here for being politically neutral. Like, completely unprovoked. He's just trying to do whatever, do his thing. Standing at a cart, Jehovah's Witness cart, and these guys just walk up and they're like, "Oh, you're politically neutral? Well, I fight for your rights." And it's just ridiculous, honestly. So anyway, that's the synopsis. Let's I haven't seen any of these yet. That's going to be interesting. Let's keep listening to old Stephen Lett here.
Here's an important question for all of us. Will we prepare our heart to receive God's peace during this convention? Ezra chapter 7 verse 10 tells us that Ezra prepared his heart to consult the law of Jehovah and to practice it and to teach it to the Israelites. Now, what was the result? Verse 11 tells us he became an expert in the study of the commandments of Jehovah. Well, in imitation of Ezra, how can we prepare our heart for what we're going to take in at this convention? Well, for one thing, very important, by prayer and meditation, we can make sure that our heart is ready, receptive to receive Jehovah's instruction. And we can also make sure that in our heart, we are determined to apply what Jehovah teaches us. But then another thing we can do, we can pay close attention to the music video presentations that will be shown before every session of the convention begins.
That's going to be a hard no for me. I cannot stand Jehovah's Witnesses music videos or music whatevers. They drive me nuts, and it's probably because I grew up listening to it. It's just garbage, honestly. I cannot stand it.
Now, these presentations have been carefully crafted to help prepare our heart for each session. Much time, effort, and expense has been expended in preparing these beautiful presentations.
To read between the lines for you, let me just kind of give you an idea of what he's trying to communicate. Let's just step back and listen one more time. What was that last sentence he said?
Have been carefully crafted. These presentations have been carefully crafted,
i.e., this propaganda was created specifically and intentionally to brainwash you effectively,
to help prepare our heart for each session.
To brainwash you. That's the whole goal. That's why they did what they did. That's why they framed everything the way they framed it, was to control you, to make you more malleable and susceptible to their manipulation.
Much time, effort, and expense has been expended in preparing these beautiful presentations. So please listen carefully as the sounds and scenes prepare your heart to accept the spiritual instruction that will follow. Yes, may each of us be determined to listen attentively to what Jehovah is teaching us. May we be determined to imitate the psalmist who humbly stated at Psalm 85, verse 8, I will listen to what the true God Jehovah says, for he will speak peace to his people. If we do, we will learn how to pursue peace with all people to the praise of Jehovah, the God of peace, who blesses his people with peace. Yes, we will be successful in pursuing peace until we no longer have to pursue it.
This is so insufferable, dude. This guy is something else.
Now, what do we mean? Well, think about it. Does Jehovah have to pursue peace? Does he have to chase it in an effort to try to catch it? No. Jehovah merely displays peace. Well, in the new world, what a wonderful time it will be when we no longer have to pursue peace. But like Jehovah, we can merely display peace. But right now, let's be determined to continue to pursue peace, and may this wonderful convention that is coming our way help us to do so.
Yeah, so that's the end of his whole section. I started right here earlier on Twitch and watched from here on. I have more of this to watch, actually, on Thursday. I'll be watching more of it, so if you want to see me on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Telltale Atheist. I'll be doing it Tuesday and Thursday mornings, 11 a.m. to 2:30. I watch a lot of this stuff, and then I upload it to Telltale Unfiltered later. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot of this stuff is just absolutely crazy and unhinged and bizarre. I was at 128.36 earlier. Wow, I was really close. 36, yeah. So I'm going to start right here on Thursday, so if you guys want to see that. Anyway, by the by, I do have a patron-only hangout. I'll be doing a live stream, basically, where I hang out with patrons and talk to them after this. 9:45 is my plan, so if you want to come, just hit me up on Patreon, or just go to my Patreon, and there should be a link right there to join. Let's take a look at the Super Chats. Where was I? Love and respect one another unless they're on Jehovah's hate list. Yeah, I know, exactly. I mean, you heard earlier the guy say, where was it? He said, we need to learn to love what Jehovah loves and hate what Jehovah hates, right? It's just complete cognitive dissonance, man. Like, they're not connecting the dots. I can't even believe they said that in a symposium titled Pursue Peace. Hate what Jehovah hates, pursue peace. It's bizarre, man. Emma Quay, there are some Christians who believe that God would never let the world be destroyed by humans, climate change. But do JWs feel the same, especially when they believe that they inherit a paradise earth? They believe that Jehovah is eventually going to change the earth into a paradise. But from my understanding, I haven't been in the religion for a while, from what I know of it, they have always taken pollution seriously and felt like people who pollute and litter and make a mess out of the earth are destroying something that Jehovah gave them. And it's disrespectful to Jehovah to not take care of it. So they have actually been serious about climate change, in my experience. That may be different for others, though. Michael, what I hate the most about Stephen Lett, which is this guy, is the famous homosexuality won't let you through Armageddon after the death of his gay nephew. I remember hearing that he had a nephew that died. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more, but yeah. I feel like I remember that, but I don't want to quote it until I look into it further. But yeah, the dude has deep, deep problems, man. Deep problems, that's for sure. Insert creative username here. Young Ones, exactly. Young Ones. It's weird. Logan Fisher, consider myself a recovered addict, though still a journey. Recently saw the My Pillow video and respect the hell out of what you're doing. Much love. I appreciate that. Yeah. I uploaded a video talking about Mike Lindell and telling his addiction story to my Telltale Unfiltered channel, and that guy is something else. And it was just a lie. Mike Lindell just lied. He told lie after lie after lie about his addiction story. He said he was up for 14 days straight one time. No, you die after 10 days. He said that the drug dealers that he dealt with all got together and said he's destroying his life, so they're not going to sell anything to him anymore. No, drug dealers don't stop selling to you because you're destroying your life. Seriously, everything the guy said was a lie. It was all a lie. He went from broke crack addict to billionaire. His story is incredible enough. He doesn't need to lie about it. I don't get why he did that. It's just weird, man. Anyway, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Daltoween Westwood. Not enough max characters to compose a full sentence, right? Hang on. My headphones are dying. The biggest of Chungai. Hey, Owen, do JWs have their own substance abuse program, or do they just use the regular 12-step cult method? And how do these guys sound so unnatural? You got me. If you're using drugs, you get disfellowshipped. That's their method. There is no substance abuse program. There is no help them get clean or any of that. There is, if you use drugs, you're kicked out of the religion. And when you stop using, you can petition to rejoin. That's about the extent of it. There is no drug rehab for these people. Yeah, okay. Wanted to make sure my headphones were connected still. Michael, they call out Bible characters like a feature calling out himself at the start of a rap song. It's Abraham on the beat, right? That's funny. Crystal Casey, my friend says there's no hate like Christian love. Absolutely. And Jehovah's Witnesses are masters at that. Later on in this whole symposium that I was watching, they were talking about, like, when somebody mistreats you, just take solace in the fact that they're going to die one day. They're going to suffer terribly. Revenge will be swift from Jehovah. So keep your chin up. They will die one day, basically. It was just disturbing stuff, dude. Love your channel, bro. Consider this a thank you for exposing yourself daily to the nonsense of evangelicals. Appreciate that, Symbiote Sam. Thank you so much. Yeah, they're not our butters, to say the least. It gets crazy. But anyway, I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to get off of here because I have to do the patron hangout. So if you want to see me there, join my Patreon. Join my Patreon. It's the last post that I posted. There's an unlisted link to a YouTube video, so go check that out. Appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. If you want to see more of this, come to my Twitch, 11 a.m. Thursday morning. Otherwise, I will see you again soon, all right? Thank you for coming, guys. Have a good night. Oh, wait. Let's nephew committed suicide and left a letter saying it was because of JWs. Let gave the talk about gays being bad only weeks after his death. I feel like I remember hearing about it, but I didn't. God, I got to research that more and then do a whole video on it. That sounds crazy, man. Anyway, thank you guys again. I will talk to you guys soon. If you like what I do and you want to make sure I can continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, you can support me on Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. I sell all kinds of shirts and stickers and stuff on there. Second, you can support me by checking out my Etsy store. I sell 3D printed stands for every system, from the original Nintendo to the Xbox One. And finally, if you want to support me in other ways, you can check me out on my other channels. I have the podcast channel, which is where I talk about whatever's on my mind. Politics, social issues, whatever. You can also find it everywhere podcasts can be found. Or you can check out the videos on my main channel where I focus on destructive cults. As it is with most channels these days, I rely on the support of viewers like you to keep my channel alive, so sharing my work is extremely helpful. Anyways, check me out in all those places if you haven't already. Thanks for listening, guys.